Peter, I have wrestled virtually my entire career with the nature of consciousness. Is it entirely the product of the brain? Did doctoral work in brain science. My head has always told me yes, that there's nothing beyond the brain, but my intuition says because of what it feels like, consciousness, there's got to be something beyond what I study.
Well, I'm inclined to agree, Robert, that what the study of the brain tells you is why you're conscious of this rather than that. I mean, there are rival theories, but we can give fairly good sort of functional account of the difference between, seeing, shall we say, a patch of grass up on that roof and seeing the brickwork. Of course, we can't fill in the details, but we shouldn't be required to. So what the typical sort of analysis of consciousness in terms of brain functioning does is show us how conscious is structured. So in traditional language, it tells us the form of conscious. It doesn't tell us what the substance of consciousness is, but the form. But the fact that we are conscious doesn't seem to be explained at all. We could imagine easily, and in fact we can construct machines that are self-monitoring. So one part of the machine records what another part of the machine is doing. But there again, that doesn't make it conscious. If the machine was conscious, then because it's monitoring itself, it would become self-conscious. But we don't think the machine is automatically conscious simply because one part of it monitors what another part does.
Okay, I mean, this is what I've felt. How do we then make progress?
Well, probably all the progress we make is in the brain science account of how this consciousness is structured. The fact of consciousness is likely to be a horrible mystery.
I don't like mysteries. I want to speculate. I want to see how far we can push it.
Well, we can perhaps push it a little bit. I incline towards the sort of position, I think it's called neutral monism, but the position that the stuff or the items of which reality is composed can be thought of both physically as entering into causal relations with each other, governed by laws of nature, and can be thought of psychologically as appearing a certain way. I also incline towards the view that we don't need to posit a separate being or thing that is conscious of ideas.
So you're not a dualist. You don't believe in anything independent of the one substance that we know.
No, I'm not a dualist. Strictly speaking, I don't think dualist speculations are silly. I just am not persuaded by the arguments for them, so I can't say that I really know dualism is incorrect, but I don't really think it helps explain a consciousness to talk about a thing which is aware. I think the best we can do is say that these brain processes, which we partially understand in terms of the causal relations between them, appear a certain way. I mean, I like to use the metaphor of them being luminous. It's not as if we have to shine the light of consciousness on them for them to appear. They just do appear.
You say they. What's they?
They, the brain states.
The brain states, billions of neurons firing little
complicated
impulses,
patterns.
Complicated patterns of electrical impulses. Yes. What are you saying about them? You're saying about that is the conscious, that is the feeling of
no.
What are you saying about those?
I'm saying that it's their nature to appear.
It's their nature. There's something about their nature.
Yes, that they appear. And that appearing constitutes the mind which we ordinarily think of as being aware of them. So the basic mystery is that things appear, not that there is something which is aware. So I'm turning it from active to passive.
Okay. But the mystery is still there. Now,
The mystery is still there.
is this identity theory where those brain states are the consciousness? Because I can't go with you on that. Because how can those electrical impulses, sophisticated patterns they may be the conscious experience of the feeling?
I think they can be the conscious experience of the feeling, except that we have to say that describing them in those purely physical terms isn't complete, that those things have to be described also in terms of appearing.
How can you do that? They are just electrical impulses, patterns.
Okay,
yes.
the most I can say here is that everything is like that. Everything appears somehow or other. Now, to say that everything appears somehow or other doesn't remove the mystery, but what it does is it removes another mystery. And the mystery that it removes is, why should brain processes appear when, say, other processes don't? So the kind of view that I hold, it's like panpsychism, except there's this active-passive switch. So everything appears. Whereas the panpsychist says that everything is conscious.
Yeah,
I'm not saying everything is conscious. I'm saying everything appears. So it's more like...
Doesn't there have to be a subject of that appearance? I know you don't like that, but
how
else can something appear if you don't have a subject to sense that appearance?
There is a subject, but the subject is constituted by the appearing. The subject doesn't exist prior to and independently of the appearing. So I don't think you could have a subject of the right sort for things to appear, but to which nothing, as a matter of fact, appear, just sitting there. The subject, the consciousness, is constituted by there being things that appear to it.
And this only happens in brain states?
No, I'm saying it happens in everything in different ways. Because it would be another mystery, a further mystery to say...
A bigger mystery.
Maybe a bigger mystery, to say that there are some things that have this mysterious quality of appearing, but other things don't. Right. If you're going to say that some things that can be described physically as appearing, physically as causing other things, can also be described as appearing, then the best intellectual response is to say everything's like that, not to be parochial about it.
So there's nothing special about brain states?
What's special about brain states is that they result in a certain kind of conscious states, ones that are capable of representing the world around them.
Why do you call yourself a moderate materialist?
Well, I regret calling myself a materialist at all. I call myself a materialist because...
Well, you have one substance. You reject dualism. So
because I reject dualism. And it's hard to know what to call yourself if you reject dualism. A materialist typically means someone who thinks that not merely is the ultimate stuff material, I have no objection to that, but it's purely material. Whereas I want to say the ultimate stuff is material or physical. Physical's better, but it's not purely physical because it's appears. The technical phrase for this is neutral monism. But if you say to someone, at a party or something, I'm a neutral monist, they may think, or they think you've got some sort of weird condition and wonder whether it's infectious. Yes. Materialism is the best I can do. But no, I don't like calling myself a materialist. I just do it because typically people who hold this sort of views in the philosophical community tend to be called materialists. I think it's misleading to call that position materialists. And I wish there was a handy term other than this rather technical neutral monism. The point is I'm not a dualist. And I'm not an idealist either. In fact, in a way, I'm nearer to being an idealist, but I'm not a dualist, no.